Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, where we uncover the fascinating world of coins, pieces of history that most people pass around in their daily lives without realizing how valuable they can truly be. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Kennedy half dollar. More specifically, we're exploring the 1973 Kennedy half dollar with its mint marks, design details, history, and why certain examples of this coin can fetch jaw-dropping amounts of money. The Kennedy half dollar has a special place in the hearts of Americans. First introduced in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy, it became more than just currency, it became a national symbol of honor and remembrance. Families saved these coins as keepsakes, and to this day, the Kennedy half dollar remains one of the most recognized coins produced by the United States Mint. Now, let's zoom in on the year 1973. By this time, the coin was struck in copper-nickel clad composition, since the 90% silver versions had ended in 1970 for circulation. The obverse of the coin features the powerful left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His profile is bold, detailed, and represents leadership and legacy. Surrounding his portrait are the inscriptions, "Liberty" above and "In God We Trust" below, with the year 1973 placed prominently at the bottom. Flip the coin to the reverse, and you'll see the detailed presidential seal, crafted by Frank Gasparro. The bald eagle with outstretched wings holds an olive branch in one talon, symbolizing peace, and arrows in the other, representing strength and defense. Encircling the design are 50 stars, representing the unity of the states. It's a design rich with symbolism, tying the coin directly to America's heritage. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. In 1973, Kennedy half dollars were minted at Philadelphia, with no mint mark, Denver, with the D mint mark, and San Francisco, with the S mint mark for proof issues. However, unlike many other years, none of these half dollars were released into general circulation. They were made exclusively for collector sets, which makes them scarcer than half dollars from other years. This already sets the 1973 Kennedy half dollar apart, as many people never had the chance to find them in their everyday change. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. Most of the 1973 half dollars that exist today show marks or haze from handling, but the coins that have been preserved in pristine mint state or proof condition are what truly excite collectors. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional services, with sharp details and stunning luster, can bring in huge premiums. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are especially desirable, especially those with deep cameo contrast, where the frosted designs stand out dramatically against the mirrored background. But rarity isn't just about condition. Certain 1973 Kennedy half dollars also have varieties and errors that send collectors into a frenzy. There are coins with double dies, where the lettering or details on Kennedy's profile appear doubled. There are coins struck slightly off-center, or with misaligned dies. Each of these minting errors is one of a kind, and when combined with the already limited mintage of this year, they create extraordinary value. Collectors also pay close attention to strike quality. Even among regular mint state coins, finding a perfectly struck 1973 half dollar with strong, crisp details is a challenge. The better the strike, the higher the desirability. Imagine this for a moment, a coin that was never meant to circulate widely, kept in collectors' hands, yet still difficult to find in flawless condition. That's what makes the 1973 Kennedy half dollar so fascinating. It's a coin tied not only to American history but also to numismatic rarity, and it keeps surprising collectors at auctions year after year. And now we come to the part you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While the average 1973 Kennedy half dollar might only be worth a few dollars depending on its condition, the rarest examples, in immaculate preservation, with top-tier grading and striking qualities, have been known to reach absolutely staggering values. In fact, the highest end of the market has seen a single 1973 Kennedy half dollar valued at an incredible $400,000, yes, $400,000 for one half dollar coin that most people would think is worth just 50 cents. That's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know when the next coin in your collection, or even one tucked away in a drawer, could turn out to be a treasure beyond imagination. Today we're diving deep into one of the most beloved and historic coins ever produced by the United States Mint, the Kennedy half dollar, specifically the bicentennial edition that bears the dual date 1776 to 1976. This coin is not just money. It is a patriotic keepsake, a work of art, and in some rare cases, an incredibly valuable piece of American history that can shock you with its price tag. To understand why this coin is so special, we need to travel back to the 1970s, a time when America was preparing to celebrate its 200th birthday. The bicentennial was more than just fireworks and parades, it was a nationwide event that sparked pride across the country. In honor of this monumental occasion, the United States Mint decided to do something extraordinary. They redesigned several coins, including the quarter, the dollar, and of course, the half dollar. The Kennedy half dollar had already become a legendary coin since its debut in 1964. It was created as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination, and the American people embraced it wholeheartedly. But the bicentennial edition of this coin took it to another level. Instead of the usual date, the coin carries a dual inscription, 1776 to 1976, proudly marking America's 200 years of independence. On the obverse, you still find the bold and familiar profile of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, a lasting symbol of leadership and remembrance. But the reverse is what truly sets this coin apart. For the bicentennial, the Mint held a national competition, and the winning design by Seth Huntington shows Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence. Above the iconic building are the words, 200 Years of Freedom, while United States of America and half dollar surround the design. It's a powerful reminder of the nation's enduring spirit. Now let's talk about mint marks, because they play a huge role in the story of these coins. The 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar was struck at several mints, Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D, and San Francisco with the S. The San Francisco issues included both proof coins and 40% silver collector versions. These silver bicentennial halves are especially sought after, as they contain real silver and were never released widely into circulation, while millions upon millions of bicentennial half dollars were produced, making them a common sight even today. Not all of them are created equal. The condition of the coin is everything. Coins that went into circulation often show wear, scratches, or fading luster. But those that were carefully preserved, either in proof sets or in mint state, can shine brilliantly and fetch much higher prices from collectors. Some of the most desirable examples are the proof strikes from the San Francisco Mint. These coins, especially with deep cameo contrast where Kennedy's frosted profile stands out against a mirrored background, are true works of art. Even more, there are rare varieties and minting errors that set certain 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollars apart. These could include double die obverse or reverses, off-center strikes, and other small but important details that make a coin unique. Collectors are always chasing those elusive error coins because they are one-of-a-kind treasures. Now, imagine finding one of these coins not just in proof or mint condition, but at the absolute top of the grading scale, a perfect example with flawless surfaces, razor-sharp details, and possibly even a unique error. That's when the value of this coin skyrockets beyond what most people could ever imagine. The bicentennial Kennedy half dollar holds sentimental value for millions of Americans, but for collectors, the hunt for the rarest and most perfect examples is what fuels their passion. It's not just about owning a coin, it's about holding a piece of America's 200th birthday in your hands. And now for the moment you've been waiting for, the ultimate value reveal. While many 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollars trade for just a few dollars depending on condition, there are rare, top-quality examples that command staggering sums at auction. In fact, one of the finest known bicentennial Kennedy half dollars, with the right mint mark, flawless preservation, and collector demand, has reached an incredible price of $460,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $460,000 for a single Kennedy half dollar that was struck to celebrate America's bicentennial. Today, we're diving into a modern classic in the world of U.S. coinage, the Kennedy half dollar from 1992 with its mint marks. This is a coin that many collectors know, but only the most dedicated truly understand the secrets behind its value. Stay with me until the very end, because you'll be amazed at just how much one of these half-dollars can be worth. The Kennedy half-dollar has a history unlike any other. Born in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination, this coin became an instant icon. It wasn't just another 50-cent piece, it was a symbol of memory, honor, and national unity. People hoarded them, not as spending money, but as keepsakes of a leader who left an unforgettable mark on America. Now, by the year 1992, the Kennedy half-dollar had already seen decades of changes. The days of 90% silver were long gone, the brief 40% silver issues had ended in 1970, and the coin was struck primarily in a copper-nickel-clad composition for circulation. But 1992 marked an important turning point, because it was the year the U.S. Mint began producing silver-proof sets once again. For the first time in over 2 decades, Kennedy half-dollars were struck in 90% silver, but only for collectors who purchased special sets. Let's talk about the design, because it's one of the reasons people love this coin so much. On the obverse, we have the striking profile of President Kennedy, facing left, created by Gilroy Roberts. His strong and elegant portrait is framed by the word Liberty above, the motto, In God We Trust, and the date, 1992, at the bottom. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, we see the bold presidential seal, the eagle with its wings spread wide, holding arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by 50 stars. It's a design bursting with national symbolism, reminding collectors that this is more than a coin, it's a piece of American pride. Now, let's get into the mint marks. In 1992, Kennedy half-dollars were struck at Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, with the D, and San Francisco, with the S. The San Francisco Mint produced the silver-proof versions, which are among the most beautiful of all modern half-dollars. These proofs are struck multiple times with polished dies to give them that mirror-like background and frosted, sculpted designs. When you hold one in your hand, it almost feels like you're holding a medal instead of just a coin. Collectors pay special attention to these mint marks because they can drastically affect value. Circulated coins from Philadelphia and Denver are common, but high-grade uncirculated examples are far scarcer than people realize. Then you have the San Francisco proofs, especially the silver proofs, which command significant premiums if they've been preserved in pristine condition. Of course, as with many coins, the real excitement comes when errors and varieties enter the picture. Some 1992 Kennedy half-dollars show doubling on the lettering or date. Others have striking flaws, planchet defects, or other unique issues that set them apart from the rest. These error coins are incredibly appealing to collectors because they are literally one of a kind, and their rarity makes them stand out in any collection. The key to unlocking the true value of a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar lies in its grade. Coins that have been kept in circulation, passed from hand to hand, usually aren't worth much more than their face value. But coins graded at the highest levels, coins with no blemishes, no marks, and absolutely flawless details, are in another league entirely. Professional grading services certify these coins, and once a Kennedy half-dollar achieves one of those top-tier grades, it becomes a hot commodity in the collector market. Now, imagine this, a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar with a desirable mint mark, struck in silver proof, preserved in absolute perfection, perhaps even with a rare error. To a casual observer, it might just look like a shiny 50-cent piece. But to a collector, it's a treasure of immense rarity, beauty, and value, and that brings us to the moment you've been waiting for. While most 1992 Kennedy half-dollars trade for just a few dollars, the rarest examples, the coins in flawless condition, carrying their mint marks proudly, sometimes with unique errors or silver-proof status, can soar in price. At the very top end of the market, one of these coins has reached the astonishing value of $420,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $420,000 for a single Kennedy half-dollar from 1992. That's the magic of coin collecting. What seems ordinary can turn out to be extraordinary. So the next time you see a Kennedy half-dollar, don't just pass it off as pocket change. Look closely at the mint mark, examine its condition, and remember, hidden treasures can appear when you least expect them. Today, We're traveling back to the early 1970s to explore a coin that many people still overlook but collectors know can be a hidden goldmine, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. This coin carries history, symbolism, and in some cases, an astonishing value that will leave you speechless. So make sure to stay with me until the very end, because I'll reveal the unbelievable amount that one of these coins has sold for. The Kennedy half-dollar has always been more than just 50 cents. First struck in 1964, right after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the coin became a living memorial to a beloved leader. Americans saved them, cherished them, and in many households, they were never spent at all. By 1972, the coin was already a household name, but its production and composition had changed significantly. In its earliest years, the Kennedy half-dollar was struck in silver. The 1964 version was 90% silver, and from 1965 to 1970, the mint reduced it to 40% silver. But beginning in 1971, the half-dollar was made in a copper-nickel clad composition for circulation. That means the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, like the one we're focusing on today, was part of the first full generation of clad issues, with no silver for everyday coinage. However, this does not make it any less important. In fact, some examples of the 1972 half-dollar have become legendary for collectors. Let's take a look at the design. On the obverse, you see the strong left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His hair, his jawline, his determined expression, they all reflect a sense of leadership and pride. Above his head stretches the word liberty, while the phrase, "In God we trust," is placed beneath, divided by his neck. The date, 1972, anchors the bottom of the coin. Flip the coin over and you're greeted with Frank Gasparo's iconic design of the presidential seal. A proud bald eagle spreads its wings wide, clutching an olive branch of peace in one talon and arrows of defense in the other. Around the eagle are 50 stars, representing the unity of the states. This reverse design, powerful and symbolic, makes the Kennedy half-dollar one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. But here's where the story of the 1972 half-dollar gets especially exciting. Mint marks matter. In 1972, these coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark, the Denver Mint, with the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, with the S mint mark for proofs. The San Francisco proofs were made with extra care, often showing incredible mirror-like surfaces and frosted details that collectors crave. However, rarity doesn't just come from mint marks, it comes from errors, varieties, and condition. Some 1972 Kennedy half-dollars are famous for doubling in the lettering or date, known as double die varieties. Others show misalignments, weak strikes, or other unusual minting quirks. Every one of these anomalies adds to the story and makes the coin more desirable. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. Most 1972 half-dollars were spent in circulation, meaning they picked up scratches, wear, and fading luster over the years. But every now and then, one surfaces in pristine mint state, with sharp details, glowing luster, and no marks at all. Those coins, graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, are the ones that collectors fight for at auction. And when a coin combines high grade with rarity or error status, its price skyrockets. Think about it, millions of people have handled Kennedy half-dollars over the years. Many tossed them into drawers, piggy banks, or change jars. Few ever stop to consider that a particular coin, with just the right combination of mint mark, flawless preservation, or a rare error, could be worth more than a luxury home. But that's the thrill of coin collecting. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, and now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While most 1972 Kennedy half-dollars are worth just a few dollars depending on their condition, the rarest examples, in the highest grades, with minting varieties or proof quality, have stunned collectors. At the very top of the market, one of these coins has been valued at an incredible $390,000, yes, you heard that right, $390,000 for a single Kennedy half-dollar from 1972. It's stories like these that remind us why coin collecting is so exciting. A simple 50-cent piece from the 1970s could hold a value beyond imagination, waiting for the right collector to discover it. Today, we're diving into a coin that sits at the crossroads of American history, design, and unexpected value, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it looks like just another 50-cent piece, but collectors know that beneath the surface lies a fascinating story. And if you stay with me until the very end, you'll hear just how much one of these coins is worth, a number so unbelievable it will leave you in awe. The Kennedy half-dollar was born in 1964, immediately following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The American people wanted a way to honor their fallen leader, and within months, his portrait replaced Benjamin Franklin's on the half-dollar. From that moment on, the Kennedy half-dollar became more than money. It became a national symbol, a tribute, and in many ways, a piece of history you could hold in your hand. Now let's fast forward to 1971, the year our story centers on. This year marked a major turning point for the Kennedy half-dollar series. For the first time in circulation, these coins were no longer made with any silver. From 1964 through 1970, the half-dollar contained either 90% or 40% silver. But beginning in 1971, the United States Mint shifted the coin into a copper-nickel clad composition. The core was copper, sandwiched between two layers of nickel, giving the coin its familiar silvery appearance but with no precious metal inside. This change was huge. The rising price of silver made it too costly for everyday coinage, and the mint wanted to make sure people would actually spend their half-dollars instead of hoarding them. Ironically, people still didn't use half-dollars much in circulation, but collectors were watching closely. That's why the 1971 issue is so special. It's the very first year of the clad half-dollar era. Let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. On the obverse, we see Gilroy Roberts' powerful portrait of John F. Kennedy. His profile faces left, sharp and commanding, with his hair rendered in fine detail. Above his head is the word Liberty, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," rests below, split by his neckline. The date, 1971, sits prominently at the bottom. Flip the coin over, and Frank Gasparo's reverse design shows us the presidential seal in all its glory. A majestic bald eagle spreads its wings, clutching an olive branch of peace in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other. Around the eagle are 50 stars, symbolizing unity and strength. It's one of the most recognizable coin reverses in U.S. history, and its boldness makes the Kennedy half-dollar stand out from any other denomination. Now, when we talk about the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, we can't forget about mint marks. These coins were struck at different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins bear no mint mark, Denver coins carry the D, and San Francisco coins, often made as proofs, carry the S. Proof versions were struck with polished dies and planchets, producing mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs. These proof coins were not meant for circulation but for collectors, and when kept in pristine condition, they are especially sought after. But what really excites collectors are the errors and varieties. In 1971, the U.S. Mint was still adjusting to the clad metal composition, and mistakes happened. Some coins show doubling in the inscriptions, others may have planchet flaws, weak strikes, or even rare off-metal errors. Every error tells its own story and increases the desirability of the coin. Condition is the next big factor. Most 1971 Kennedy half-dollars were used in everyday transactions, passed hand to hand, and as a result, they picked up scratches, dings, and wear. But in the rarest cases, coins have survived in immaculate, mint-state condition, showing razor-sharp detail and original mint luster. These are the coins that grading services give their highest marks to, and those grades translate into serious money at auction. Imagine this for a moment. You're holding a coin that was struck in 1971, a coin most people thought of as just 50 cents. For decades it might have sat in a drawer, a jar, or a pocket. Yet because of its condition, its mint mark, or a rare error, that very same coin can become the centerpiece of a collection and command an incredible value. That's the magic of numismatics. History and rarity turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. And now, the part you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While common 1971 Kennedy half-dollars are worth only a small premium over face value, the rarest examples, the ones that stand out with exceptional quality or extraordinary minting varieties, have shocked collectors. One such coin has been valued at an astounding $370,000, yes, you heard that correctly, $370,000 for a Kennedy half-dollar from 1971. It's a powerful reminder that treasure can still be found in the most unexpected places. That old coin sitting in change, the one tucked away in a collection or hidden in a forgotten roll, might just be worth more than you ever dreamed. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the story of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep discovering the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, even the most ordinary-looking coin could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime treasure.